What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to the Arsenal-Chelsea post-match analysis video. And what on earth happened with Chelsea under Frank Lampard? They are seriously struggling every time they come up against even a top 10 side. They actually don't win, either draw or lose. They have 0 wins. Frank Lampard's Chelsea, who spent 250 million, have 0 wins against Everton, Tottenham, Man United, Southampton, Liverpool, Wolves, and now Arsenal. So they can only beat sides who are in the bottom half of the table, and that must be absolutely a huge concern, a huge worry for every Chelsea fan. I don't think Frank Lampard is experienced enough to make Chelsea a title contender team, at least definitely not this season. And they again looked pretty toothless today. I'm not sure why Zuma and Chilwell started. They looked really tired, and they had both injury problems during the week, and they were massive doubts for this game. And also, really, Chelsea should have beaten Arsenal, who had a lot of problems on their own. Gabriel tested positive for COVID, and Willian and another player, I think, was also feeling unwell. So Arsenal played with a kind of a B-side, and Emil Smith-Rowe started for Arsenal for the first time, I think, in the Premier League in a long time, and he actually played brilliantly. So maybe Arteta should give a run to the kids. Martinelli and Saka were also very, very good, very impressive, and it was Kieran Tierney who maybe was the man of the match for Arsenal. Kieran Tierney, who gets past James, who again didn't really look his usual self. He looked all out of sorts, and I think the problem for Chelsea is that their backup right back and left back, Azpilicueta and Emerson, are just not up to the same level that is required for a title challenging team. But to be honest, that's true to a lot of teams. Lacazette dispatches the penalty very ruthlessly. And let me know, guys, do you think Frank Lampard should get massive questions asked about his job security? This game was a game which Arteta and Arsenal couldn't afford to lose, and I think Arteta would have been sacked if he lost this game. And Arsenal played well, don't get me wrong, but I think it was more Chelsea being just so poor on the ball, so lackluster. And Timo Werner, the way that Chelsea use him, I think is all wrong, because he's playing on the left wing, and yes, Timo Werner has pace, but he doesn't have the trickery of a Sadio Mane, for example, to really go past people and dribble past the opposition. Timo Werner would be best used as a striker or a false striker who is playing on the last line of defense, on the shoulder of the last defender or defenders, because with his pace, if Chelsea would just go do through balls to Timo Werner, he could really outrun a lot of people. And Timo Werner's finishing is very, very poor. I think he's lacking confidence massively, and the way that he's just keeps missing chances for Chelsea must be very concerning. So Arsenal were 1-0 up with a contentious penalty. Some people say it's a penalty. I thought it was a penalty. Other people say that Tierney started diving before he even got the contact. But then Arsenal get a free kick from 30 yards, and Granit Xhaka, who usually is the nemesis, the villain at Arsenal, he was constantly criticized by Arsenal fans that I watch on YouTube many times. But this time, Granit Xhaka pulls an absolute rabbit out of the head. A world-class free kick from Granit Xhaka, unsavable, and 2-0 Arsenal. It was really almost like game over, not because of the scoreline, but because of how Chelsea played. Chelsea didn't really threaten and penetrate the Arsenal defense, who are usually very poor at defending Arsenal. But this time Chelsea didn't really, at least in the first half, didn't really threaten the Arsenal backline. The second half, Arsenal scored another kind of a fluke goal, because Saka, I'm sure he wanted to cross the ball, even though he said after the game that he meant that goal. There is no way he meant it, because the Chelsea goalkeeper Mendy is off his line by 3 yards. and Saka looks at I think Lacazette or Martinelli in the middle, and then he tries to cross. The cross is overhit and it loops over Mendy and into the top corner perfectly. Saka is the only person who knows whether it meant it or not. I'm leaning towards he didn't meant it, because I mean the way that he hit the ball, it looked like a cross and not a chip. But it's a magnificent goal, don't get me wrong, and Arsenal were leading 3-0, and I thought it's game over, but Chelsea had other ideas. They left it a little bit too late with Tammy Abraham scoring a goal, which VAR took too long to examine. I think it should have been given a more quicker, because he looked onside Tammy Abraham's knee. And then Chelsea get a penalty and the lifeline in the 90th minute. But Jorginho, the Chelsea penalty taker, who usually scores, but this season he missed a couple of penalties with his usual hop step penalty taking technique. He couldn't wrong foot Leno, who made a magnificent save from the penalty. But at 3-2, Arsenal would have been sweating in extra time, because the referee gave 5 minutes of extra time. And if Chelsea make it 3-2, it could have been game on. But Leno saved the penalty, and that killed the game for Chelsea, for any comeback. And Arsenal just saw the game out. And to be honest, I think Arsenal deserved this win. But is it because of Arteta's management, or is it because Arteta was forced to play so many young players, and they played without fear, they played free-flowing, energetic football, which we didn't see from Arsenal for many weeks in a row now. I think Arsenal lost 5 or 6 games in a row in the Premier League. They were on their worst run, actually, and their worst start to the season since 1974. Arsenal's run was really shocking. No, they drew against Southampton, but yeah, apart from that, they had a lot of losses recently. Yeah, Arsenal only have 5 points from the previous 9 games, which is a relegation form, believe it or not. And they still are in a dangerous place in the table. They are in 14th position. But and I don't think Arsenal can fight for even the European places. But what is certain is that something changed at Arsenal. Finally, the players started really to play for the badge, for the shirt, to play a much more energetic football, which I think was desperately needed at Arsenal. They really they didn't turn up for many weeks. It looked like, and finally they turned up against Chelsea, which was a big London derby, so they had to turn up, otherwise Arteta would have been sacked. Now this is a very big conundrum for Arsenal. Do they keep faith with Arteta? Same goes with Chelsea. Do they keep faith with the Lampard until the end of the season and see where they finish, or do they change it mid-season? Mauricio Pochettino went to PSG, which I think both Arsenal and Man United, one of them should have appointed Pochettino, but now that boat has sailed, so they are stuck with these managers. And it's pretty amazing to me that two very inexperienced managers, Lampard and Arteta, who pretty much didn't do anything before in management, in terms of top level management, and they are in charge of two of the biggest clubs in English football and two of the richest clubs in English football and in the world. So this experiment at Arsenal, it's already backfiring, and at Chelsea, it's really going off the rails. I mean, Chelsea are 4 points worse off than last season at this stage after 15 games, and losing 3 away games in a row to Arsenal, Wolves and Everton is really worrying, because it looks like Lampard just cannot get the best out of this Chelsea squad. This Chelsea squad should be up there with Liverpool at the top of the table in terms of their squad strength. Some are saying that Chelsea even have the strongest squad if you count the current injured players out with Liverpool. If you count them out, then Chelsea have the best squad. But I think they have not the best manager, and that will ultimately cost Chelsea a title race, a place in the title race. I don't think now Chelsea are in the title race. You can't lose 3 away games in a row and be in the title race, because if Liverpool win tomorrow, then we will be 9 points ahead of Chelsea. 9 points. And those are 3 defeats, the 3 away defeats that Chelsea just suffered. That's the difference between Liverpool and Chelsea right now. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a nice day. See you later, guys. Goodbye.